Today I'm going to look at another old vintage Technics receiver, and this piece has got to be in the best condition I've ever seen of a specimen of this age. There's not as much as a scratch on this thing. It is absolutely beautiful. Let's check this out. This is a Technics. This one's an SA 5570, 85 watts per channel, according to the sticker on the front. This is in about as good a shape as you are ever going to find one of these units. It is almost spotless. A little bit of dust on it because it's been sitting around for a while, but this piece that I have, this is mine, by the way. This piece is in about as good a shape as you are ever going to find a piece of stereo equipment. It is absolutely spotless. There is not as much as a scratch. Look at it, it's beautiful. There's not as much as a scratch on this thing. I haven't even turned this thing on yet. I've plugged it in. We're going to try it out together and see whether it picks anything up. So there it is. Oh, might help if I turn up the volume. I don't have much in the way of an antenna on here, but that's not bad.
Includes, yeah, as many of the usual suspects, so we got a bit of Stan Getz. Oh, you gonna let it all hang out that bottom.
Let's go down to the bottom of the band where I can. I can play this. This is from my little test transmitter. Okay, controls need to be cleaned. Switch is dirty. Okay, so we have our work cut out for us. Need to clean the controls and switches on this. Other than that, this unit here appears to be working perfectly. I may just end up taking this in and using it in my office myself, because to say this is my amplifier and I have absolutely no desire whatsoever in parting with this one, because it's just in such good shape. Most of the pieces that I acquire are kind of beat up because, you know, I get them out of the garbage can or something, or someone gives them to me or whatever, and they're not in great shape. But this piece here, this looks like it just came out of the box, and it's going to stay that way. So let's get the top off this unit and get in there with some cleaner and clean up these controls and switches and see how good this thing will sound when I'm all done. Take a look at the insides of this unit. Nice big caps here. Well, it's not huge, but they are 63 volt, 15,000 microfarads. And these are just single caps. It says like the A and the C lug are dummies, just the B lug. So this would have been like a 3-part, but there's only one cap in here. Regulator, bunch of fuses down here. Look at the tuning dial. The length of the string is, the tuning string is quite amazing on this. It goes all the way over to this side. So it wraps around the flywheel here, goes around, crosses over, up, and then back to the tuning dial for the pointer, and then all the way back. It's quite the elaborate tuning scheme. Now, some might suggest I replace the capacitors, and maybe they will get replaced at some point. That's not going to happen today. I just want to clean it, get everything working properly, and then we'll see how it goes. At some point I may replace all the caps on it. The problem is the stores are all closed right now with the whole pandemic thing going on. It's not like I can just walk into RP Electronics and say, hey, I want to buy a bunch of capacitors, because they're all closed, right? Everybody's shut down. Lee's Electronics shut down. RP, they're open, but they're not open for walk up and buy the parts you want. It's call us with what you want and we will ship it to you, and you'll pay the high shipping fees. I just don't like doing that. I like to be able to, when I want to work on something, I want to do it today. So I take an inventory of the parts, drive in, pick up the parts, come back, and do the work. That's my idea of doing the work. But I say I might change these caps out at some point down the road. I don't think they're needed. From what I've heard so far on it, it sounds pretty good. And yes, they're old. They're very old, but the old capacitors typically were made pretty good. Much better than the crap that's out today. And these aren't being stressed. They're not running with switching power supplies or anything. These are pretty lazy capacitors. They're not getting worked out much, right? So should not be an issue. Some of these little orange ones here, these ones are going to be probably audio rated caps. Typically have a little higher rating than these other ones. But anyway, let's clean the controls. I'm going to clean all the switches and the controls. The nice thing about this is that these controls are relatively easy to get at, and they actually have a little access point here for getting the nozzle in to give them a good shot of cleaner. So this is going to be one of the easier amplifiers to clean the controls on. I'm going to use Neutral on these ones, just because Neutral is one of my favorite cleaners, and I'm still kind of pissed off at Keg. So they're not getting any free advertising out of me. There's another thing about these amps that I haven't showed you guys yet, and it's probably one of the neatest features of this amp. And when I show it to you guys, you'll understand why I think it's a cool feature. These old Technics receivers were always noted for having beautiful displays. Like the tuning display on it is beautiful. And one of the reasons they look so good is because of how they're backlit. See, this is the backlight right here. See our light bulbs? the light is actually shining right across the entire in front of the unit itself. Now the advantage to doing that is that you get even lighting to all the display, to the tuning display as well as to the meters themselves. Get a couple more switches to get at here, and then we'll test it out. So as you can see, the 3 incandescent bulbs in the back, the way that they're arranged with this great big reflector here on the back and the open cavity is that there's no hot spots, whereas on a conventional display when you've got all kinds of little lights in behind the back, you end up with hot spots on the display. So this is one of the ways that Technics wanted to try and keep the display looking as good as they possibly could with even illumination, is by putting the lights at the back. It also made servicing it really easy. You just pop the top off and unplug the lights and plug new ones in, right? And I don't know how easy these bulbs are to get today. I think we can still get them, but as you can see, the lights themselves, there's nothing wrong with them. They look good. Let me just turn on the speakers here. Hold on. There we go. AM radio.
Center. Today we saw about 15 to 16 degrees near the water.
Life, like over the last 5 weeks or so, listening to Duck. Like your favorite small business not being able to survive this crisis, it's with good reason. But
watch this. I'll turn the plasma set back on.
The biggest concern is how quickly support arrives.
Word of this rent assistance program
just blow out the radio.
positive in the assessment of Bridget Anderson, chief executive of the Greater Vancouver Board of Trade. But she stresses time now from new businesses.
AM radio is unlistenable with a plasma TV running anywhere in the vicinity, and I'm just so happy that I'm using a plasma TV right now as my monitor. My controls are nice and clean. The tuning dial here. It's just a little smidge off, so that's, I'm going to adjust the capacitor on the tuner back here. Put the radio on exactly 103, the dial on exactly 103.5. It's just off just a smidge. We'll just adjust this ever so slightly. Well, I guess I better talk over this part so that I don't get nailed with playing music off the radio that might be, but anyway. We're just adjusting the trimmer to get the radio station smack dead center so that it displays the exact frequency that I'm actually tuned into. make sure all the other stations are where they are. So it's 101.1.
Surrey 160th North.
Dead center.
2nd Avenue. Northbound traffic blocked off there. It pays to open a CIBC Smart account. Earn $300.
So that's 101.1. Right on 101.1. We'll go to 99.3. 99.3 right there. 96.9. Yeah, we're right on, you see. 92.9. We're good. 88.1.
50s and 60s. Also, we get
104.5, I think it is. Yeah, 104.3. 104.3, and there should be another one here, like 105.1. 104.9. That's what that is. So that's looking good. Tune my test transmitter in, see how accurate the tuning dial is, or the tuning centering gauge is. Looks good.
Free drop-and-go options for your estimate or repair. Visit BoydAutobody.com.
Consider a Mazda CX-3, CX-5, or CX-9 for your next lease. Come see why.
I'm sorry, but I love a good old analog dial. There is nothing like tuning in radio stations on an analog dial. I'm sorry, I'm not a digital tuner fan. I never have been a digital tuner fan, and that's why this one's going to go into my office. And I mean, I've got my HD radio tuner in my living room, and I can listen to HD broadcasts on it, and that's all fine for that. But as far as tuning off the air stations go, whether it be AM or FM, you can't beat an analog dial. You can't do it. Especially one like this. They're so sensitive and selective. I love it. Anyway, that's this one, all done. Just gonna put the top on it, put the screws in it, and take it in the house. Just before I close this up, for you guys that are interested in the power outputs on these things, transistors are 2SA 747A for the PNP transistor, and a 2SC 1116. It's 1116. 2SC 1116A are the two transistors. It's a push-pull design, class AB bias, and the transformer, as you can see, it's a pretty good sized transformer. This is going to give some real power, unlike the modern stuff, which just doesn't give a lot of power like this old stuff. The old school stuff is great. Even the cover on this thing, it's like it's all real wood, right? The cover is real wood. It's a wood veneer, none of this vinyl veneer stuff. This is a real wood veneer on this one, I think. I think this is a wood veneer. It's got a grain in it. But it's a real wood cabinet, nevertheless. And there's not a scratch on it. Now, if only I can figure out how to get it back together. So there it is, back together. You'll see what I mean about this display. Beautiful. Not too bright, just even backlighting. Look at the delay on that display over in the corner on the right side. I'll move my hand. Digital delay. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one real soon. Bye for now.